So we were talking about strategy. You mentioned before we started with the podcast, and I had the smile when you said it, Balanced Scorecard is as old as the hills.
Yes.
I have a great book on it. I love it. I think the problem is, like with so many things, decision trees and Ishikawa diagrams, everybody sees it and they think they understand it. The graphic is very simple. The words are easy to use, but they're not difficult. They're kind of difficult to implement. And you once told me that balanced scorecards sometimes have a not so good reputation. Why is that? From what perspective?
I would go further. They have a very bad reputation.
Okay, why?
Yeah. What's the reason for it? When it was introduced, the big consulting companies took it, and this was the new opening for new business in new companies.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Yeah. Okay. Two things happened. First thing was the ones who implemented, at least it's my impression, often by themselves did not understand what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because they made it much more complex as it is. Because the balanced scorecard between the two of us, from the idea behind, it's really trivial.
Yeah.
And not lowering.
And I think sometimes when people do simple methods, then they overthink it and they add so much, then it becomes complex and it makes no sense anymore. Okay.
Exactly. And they also left the recommendations of the ones who thought it. Yeah. So, for example, the number of KPIs you should use and so, there were scorecards. Oh my God, you wouldn't understand it. Okay. So, first thing. Second thing is that the management realized with a balanced scorecard, the company and the value chain really becomes transparent. But could it be the case that there were also managers in there who wouldn't have liked that to be the case, because this would make transparent their inability, to be that precise.
Or what they don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
And they weren't comfortable with that. I've had that experience several times.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the paradox. Everybody loves the word transparency. If you see the word transparency, it's like saying the word agile. Everybody gets like a semi-mental orgasm.
Yeah.
But if you start trying to be transparent, everybody gets uncomfortable, right? Partly because they're afraid themselves of what they might see, so everybody emotionally understands the value of transparency. Now, but let's go back to the balanced scorecard, because regardless, even if I don't care if it has a bad reputation, because if you don't use this balanced scorecard, some new consultant is going to come along and create a new model, which is basically the same thing, give it a new name, and then there's going to be a big hype, like with many of the things we have today.
I just wanted to say that.
But it's pretty much the same thing. So why reinvent the wheel? Let's stick to the balanced scorecard. But we left off with you saying one of the big challenges that most people underestimate is most people think, I can do that in an afternoon with a workshop. It doesn't work that way unless it's a small company. And even then.
Not even with a small one.
So you do it to do a present state analysis. Yes. But the actual purpose of the balanced scorecard, the higher order purpose, is future state.
Exactly.
So take us through, and you had an example too that you wanted to share with us to show the complexity when you get into that.